Welcome everybody to the American Family Insurance Dream Bank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. My name is Andy Frisky. I'm a senior dream curator here at DreamBank. And on behalf of the team, we are so thrilled to have you with us here today. And as we like to get, as we do when we get started here, we always like to ask folks where they are tuning in from. And if you are comfortable in doing so, please go ahead and pop that into the chat. It's always great seeing all the guests from around the world. But for those of you who aren't familiar with DreamBank, we'd love to take a few moments and introduce you. So here at American Family Insurance, we believe that communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. And that's why DreamBank was created. It's an inspirational community destination and digital experience that is dedicated to dreamers everywhere. Our offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and to stay motivated. I'll be putting in a few pertinent links in the chat as the presentation continues forward that will help kind of keep you in tune as to some of the upcoming events that DreamBank has, as well as some of the recorded events that we have done. But really excited to listen to Jenny Peralski of Ads Uncorked today talk about 3 secrets to successful holiday ads that convert. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Jenny. Jenny, take it away.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Andy. And if I can chime in as well, I would love to know, so I love seeing where everybody's coming in from. Could you also drop a comment and tell me why you're here today? Essentially, are you someone who owns a business? Are you looking to get more leads into your business? Drop a little comment. Tell me about your industry, because that way I can kind of cater what I'm talking about today to you and what would be most helpful. So like Andy said, hi, I am Jenny. We're going to be covering the 3 secrets to successful holiday ads that convert. As a heads up, we are going to do a Q&A at the end. So I'm going to run through my presentation. If you've got any burning questions, write them down, and I would absolutely love to open up, and we'll even let you unmute yourself and we can have a conversation back and forth for you to ask any questions that you have about our presentation here today. Okay, awesome. Great, great. Love seeing where everybody's coming in from. And I see a couple familiar faces too, which is really fun. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right on in. Like I mentioned, hi, I am Jenny, owner of Ads Uncorked. We are an e-commerce marketing agency. We also work with some other niches, but e-commerce is really our bread and butter. We work specifically with Shopify business owners that are really looking to grow and scale their businesses. I've been running Facebook ads for several years, have spent millions on Facebook and Instagram ad spend, as well as on Google and LinkedIn too, but primarily on Facebook and Instagram, and really excited to share with you all the tactics that I've learned over the last several Black Friday, holiday ad season in general. So here's a few of our clients. We've worked with dozens and dozens of e-commerce clients, but excited to share all that here with you today. Okay, wonderful. Love seeing what everybody's chiming in with. So if you are new and just coming in, go ahead, write down all of your questions, and I want to get to them at the end of the presentation here today. All right, so items that we're covering here today. First, how to know if you are ready to run Facebook and Instagram ads. And actually, this goes for all advertising platforms too, even if you've considered running ads on LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, wherever it might be. These this first item here will pertain to many different advertising platforms. Second, we're going to cover elements that you should split test in your ads this holiday season. Third, we're going to cover tips for success in understanding your ads results. And then at the end, I also have a free video tutorial that you aren't going to want to miss. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. All right, Black Friday and holiday ads. So a question that I often get asked is, is it even worth it to run ads this Black Friday season, this holiday season? It's an extremely competitive time of year. My answer is still yes, because think of it this way. Yes, it's competitive. There's a lot of noise. There are a lot of advertisers out there. However, there are a lot of engaged shoppers, right? Like everybody knows somebody that they're going to buy a present for, whether it be family, friends. You've got really highly engaged shoppers who are ready to swipe and purchase a gift with their credit card online. So there's absolutely space. You just have to be smart about what you're doing. So what results are actually possible during the holiday season? So before we dive into tactics, the 3 tips that you should keep in mind, I just want to show you guys a couple screenshots of results that we've seen for clients during the Black Friday season to show you what is possible to even get a gauge of, would this even be worth it for me? This first one up here, just want to show you, most of these results are from ad runs that were about a few days long, all the way up to maybe about a week or so long. So this first one here is just showing a screenshot of 523 people initiating checkout on a client campaign. So that means they started the checkout process, and 66 purchases coming in about a week. So that's pretty great to see over 500 people going ahead and initiating checkout, adding to cart, and then you can see purchases here. All right, here we have 189 purchases in a week with 11,500 in sales. They had a return a little over a 3.4. And this is another client. This was a shorter ad run, I think only about 4 days here, but you can see they had a total of 95 purchases during that time. And they earned almost $6,000 from those ads. So we're going to dive into metrics, things that you need to take a look at, how to even know what your return is. So don't worry too much about these columns if this is a bit overwhelming, but I just want to show you, yes, it's possible to turn a return for your business to earn money and earn notable money during the Black Friday and holiday season. Okay, so how to know if you are ready to run ads. This is a really big one. So before I dive into, again, what you need to keep in mind for success, I want you to know if you're even ready to run ads. First, I always say that you have to have a proven product that people want, which means it's selling organically. So if you have a shop and people aren't really buying and you don't know if maybe your price point's wrong, if there's something weird going on your site, that is not a time to run ads. You really want to make sure that you have a proven product or a proven offer. Maybe, I saw that we have some service-based business owners here. Make sure that you know that your price point is right and that your offer is right before you go ahead and put money behind it. You also want to make sure that your website or Instagram shop, if you're selling on Facebook or Instagram, is converting on its own. Again, people organically are finding you and purchasing. I also say that ads should not be used to test if your product can sell. Of course, unless you're willing to set aside a good chunk of change and say that this is, I'm using this as testing. But generally, if your shop is broken, if you will, or if your business is broken and there's something wrong along the way, ads shouldn't be used to try and turn that around, because that's not what ads work. Ads will bring to life either the success that you're having or whatever isn't working on your website. It's going to make it better or worse. So you want to put ads behind it when you know that your product or your offer is selling. You don't want to use it as a testing tool. I do have some clients that come to me and we use it as a testing tool from time to time, but that is if they are full on ready to commit to several months of testing to kind of turn things around. It just takes longer. So it's better to invest when you know it's working, when you've got your price point set, when you know exactly your messaging and what people want. So, okay, so if you're in a place where you're like, well, my shop isn't converting, it's not working organically, what do I do now? Well, what I'd recommend you do is reach out to people and see what is not working. So for example, you could create a poll on your Instagram stories and figure out what people might want instead. So maybe, you can ask them, hey, I'm thinking about offering these different services, or I'm thinking of creating these different products. What do you guys think? And creating a poll on Instagram stories or on Facebook is a fantastic way to go. It's completely free. It costs you nothing. And it's not like you have to spend money on ads to figure it out. You can do it organically. Another thing I love doing is research within Facebook groups. So for example, I serve primarily e-commerce brands. So you better believe I'm in those e-commerce brands Facebook groups. I'm seeing what questions people have about Facebook ads. I'm creating free resources for them based on the questions I know they have. And I'd encourage you to do the same for your brand, for your company. Figure out where people are hanging, even if it's not even a business related Facebook group. Get inside of the Facebook group where your potential customers are and see what they're talking about. Last, I'd encourage you to think about adjusting your price point. Maybe it's even just as simple as a pricing issue as to why people aren't purchasing. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about here today is split testing. What I'm going to encourage you to do today is, if you are setting up Facebook and Instagram ads, I want you to test out one element at a time. The biggest mistake that I see business owners make is they're kind of, if they set up Facebook ads, mistake number one is they click boost or promote on Instagram or Facebook. Don't do that. We'll talk about that more later. Don't do that. But if you're creating ads, I see people, throwing spaghetti at the wall. So they're trying, I'm going to try this image, this ad copy, I'm going to try this video, and just, I hope something works and I hope I can see a return. And I'm going to greatly encourage you not to do that. Let me show you what proper split testing looks like, but this is crucial when you are running ads. You need to know what is working and what isn't working. So many people just get scared, and Facebook Ads Manager can be overwhelming. Just test out one thing at a time, and then you can move on to testing out other elements. So let's talk about what this looks like in practicality. So first thing I like testing out is image and video. So I'm going to kind of just come up with a fake scenario here off the top of my head and show you how I would test out the different elements in their Facebook and Instagram ads. All right, so first, let's say you own, making this up here, a vintage sweater company, and you're selling, vintage sweaters. So let's say you go ahead, you come up with an ad copy. So this is the text that goes in the ad, and you come up with something like, not your grandma's vintage, or not your grandma's Christmas sweater, carefully curated vintage sweaters to celebrate this holiday season. Okay, just made up that text that would go in the ad. Then what I want you to do is I want you to test out an image versus a video. Now you might say, Jenny, I don't have any video of my product or my service. Well, okay, string together 3 photos together in a free tool like maybe Canva. Takes no more than a few minutes. You can string together a couple images and come up with a video. So what I'd encourage you to do is grab that ad copy and then try it with an image, try it with a video, set that live for a few days. Then from there, you'll be able to understand, was it the image or was it the video that was the top performer? Oftentimes I see people, again, they're like, I'm going to try this copy, I'm going to put it with this image, and then I'm going to try a different copy, and I'm going to put it with a different video or a carousel. I'd say keep everything the same, just change one element, image versus video. Let that run for a few days. See, are you getting your purchases? An ads manager will show you purchases from the image, or are you getting purchases from the video? It's that simple. Then the next thing that we do with our clients is we go ahead and we try, okay, so like, let's say it was the ad copy that you created and it was the video that worked. Great. Now what I'd encourage you to do is, okay, we've got our copy. Let's try the copy, and then let's try a second version. That's the longer form copy. So maybe, you're explaining a little bit more about how your company is ethically sourced, or, maybe a little bit more about behind the scenes, why you do what you do, something that's important to your business. Maybe you add in a testimonial, whatever it might be. You can try again the original ad copy, and now let's try a longer ad copy. And that's as simple as split testing is. It can be this scary, like, what does it look like to split test? And there's lots of buttons and whatnot you can click to try testing, but it's really that simple. So we knew that the video performed best. So try the original video with your original copy, and then run side by side along it the long form copy with extra info about who you are, why your company does what you do, with the video, and see, let that run for a couple days. Determine if it was the long copy or the short. Let's say, okay, maybe it's the short that's winning again, short plus the video. Okay, wonderful. Then from there, you can see you can just slowly change one element at a time. And I have on the next slide, I've got some screenshot examples for you to show you exactly what this looks like for one of my clients that we did within the last couple months. Another element I like to test out is product page versus the homepage. So like I said, I work primarily with e-commerce, but let's say you are a service-based, you can do the exact same thing here too. You've got a service page like that explains your services, and you have your homepage too. So what we like doing is, okay, so let's say I determined it's the short copy with the video that works best. Great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try sending people directly to a specific product or service. And then I'm going to test that against sending people to the homepage itself. And again, within a few days, you should be able to get a good gauge of what is converting best for you. Let me show you what this actually looks like. I'm a visual person myself. All right. So one of our clients that we work with, Espro, they sell French presses, brewers. And anyway, I want you to take a peek at what I have here. If it's too small for you, I'll let you know. The copy, the same. So I changed nothing in the copy. Take a look at my headline. The same. Even the shop now button is the same. That's also like an element you can test, right? Like you could change this headline, you could change this button. You can see there are so many options, but I'm keeping literally everything is identical across the board. The only thing that's changed is right here, the image. I tried a graphic, an image, and a carousel. Now, I've obviously been doing this for quite a while, and so I can test out multiple different things at a time. So here I'm trying graphic, image, carousel, or excuse me, this was, it was like a GIF. It was like 3 images strung together. Kind of like I said, this client did not have a video, but we can string together 3 images and kind of turn it into a little video. Anyway, so again, this test is only checking off whether it's, a graphic, image, or a video that works best. For this client in particular, it was this first graphic. So then that way I can narrow it down and say like, okay, it's this copy with this graphic. And you can see we can totally go down this rabbit hole, right? Like you can even change, you could have the black a black background and white text instead. And kind of that's like that next step. So there are many, many different elements that you can test. But as a reminder, I would just start simple because you can go down this rabbit hole. And the biggest mistake I see people make is they try like 20 different things and they set all these ads live and they're like, ooh, but I didn't keep track of what worked. So when we're running ads for clients, we just do one simple thing at a time. And eventually you'll have enough data to be able to make those informed decisions. So once you take it one piece at a time. Okay, so let's talk about specifically for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday / holiday season. These tactics apply all year long, but I have obviously catered these to be specific to this time of year. So one thing I want you to really focus on is retargeting. So retargeting means reaching people who are familiar with your business. Maybe they're people who have come into your storefront. Maybe they're people who have visited your website, purchased from you, people on your email list, people who engage with you on social media. You want to retarget to these people. Why? Because they're probably your biggest fans. They've got familiarity about who you are, who your brand or your business is, and they will be your biggest advocates and your biggest asset. So I encourage you to beef up your warm audience early and often. So I want to give you guys an example of how important this is and how this can really help your business. So like I said, we work primarily with e-commerce brands, but I also do work with a number of local businesses too. I work with a business that's based out of Sun Prairie, and they had a live event within the last, I'd say like month or two. Every single year we run ads for their event. It happens twice a year. And every single year we basically get the same results. But this year I wanted to shake it up. I wanted to try something different for them, and it worked out beautifully. And I actually tried this tactic with a few of my other clients over the course of the last month or so, and it's gone wonderfully. And I want to share with you what it is. So like I said, retargeting is key. Of course, we're always retargeting, right? Like I'm always going to try to reach people who have visited our website and engaged with us. I'll give them a coupon code. You know, if they abandoned the cart, we'll reach them and encourage them to be there. But with this client in particular, the strategy shift that we tried this time around was going ahead and running ads to build awareness about this event long before it happened. So what we did is, you know, let's say events in September. Well, about 6 weeks or so before that, we went ahead and we ran ads just to let people know, hey, this is coming. Hey, you know, running a video, getting engagement on their event itself. We didn't ask for anything yet. We're not looking for ticket sales. We're not saying, hey, buy your tickets today. It was just simply, we're coming. And I want you to think about this, no matter if you are service-based or if you're product-based, you can apply this too. Building up hype and brand awareness before something happens is huge, because you know what we did? When it was about 2 weeks out from this event, what I did is I ran ads and I retargeted to every single person. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the greater Madison area who saw our ad. And then I sold to them. I, for lack of better words, I buttered them up for a couple months, letting them know and building hype, and you know, showing video and really just being front and center to them through ads for a period of time. And then when it came close to the event itself, then we run ads for them to actually make a purchase. They had to purchase a ticket. And what were the results? Well, the results were we cut our cost in about a third. Meaning if it normally costs $15 for someone to purchase a ticket, it only costs $5 to acquire that same sale this time around, and it worked beautifully. We were over the moon about it. So it meant our money went about 3 times as far as it had the previous year. So I would highly encourage you to think about this too. How can I retarget to people ahead of my big launch, ahead of my big sale? So if it's a big, you know, if it's a big November push you're doing for Black Friday, or if it's a big holiday season, or even if you have a new product or service coming out next year, I encourage you to think about what can we do to warm up our audience and get them engaged and ready to go and top of mind before we even hit them with a sale. Because if they haven't heard from you in a year, yeah, of course, it could still work and you can still make money and have a successful Black Friday. But I'd encourage you to be front and center before it's go time. Kind of runs right into number 2. So starting your ads as soon as possible before the holiday season. So again, the earlier the better, so that you can test and learn before ad spend is at its peak. We are here in November and December. This is the most expensive time of year. Just is every single year. And every year we also see people advertising sooner and sooner. So I'd encourage you that, you know, even if it's not this year that you're running holiday ads, maybe it's next year, or maybe there's a product launch that's happening next year. I encourage you to go ahead and test before it's go time, if you will. That way you have a chance to figure out who you're targeting, what you're going to say, and what offer they want to see. So if you sell a physical product, maybe people like seeing a smattering of all of your products, or maybe they like seeing specifically just your one vintage sweater, the top seller that you sell. So having time to test before it's the most expensive time of year is always a great route to go. Don't worry if you haven't run ads, it's not too late, but it's just to say something to be thinking about for next year is, next summer, could you be running ads in preparation for Black Friday so that you can nail down exactly who you're targeting, what you're saying, and what they want to see in that ad, whether it's an image or a video or a carousel. All right. So something I want you to keep in mind is that Black Friday, it's obviously extremely competitive. And I want you to come with your best and final offer for Black Friday and for the holiday season. Now, I'm not telling you to lose your shirt over this. I'm not telling you to lose money. That would never be my recommendation. But something like a 10% discount likely is not going to move the needle in the way that a deeper discount would. So, discounts that my clients are running this holiday season, we're starting anywhere between 20 and like 30-ish% off. And again, if 30%, you're like, Jenny, there's no way, I'm not turning a profit, I'm losing money. I'm not telling you to do that. There are so many different ways that you can swing discounts. All I'm saying is that smaller discount, I would expect you to make a smaller splash. We've tested out over the years doing percent discounts as well as like dollar off discounts. So, we've played around with 20% or, $30 off your purchase. I typically see that percentage off seems to move the needle a bit more for my clients. So that's where we're investing this year, is we're going all just percentage off. Other ideas and ways you can think about discounts for Black Friday and the holiday season. Some of my clients do BOGO or buy one, get one half off. I have some clients that do, if they're on we've got a number of subscription boxes. And so they'll end up doing, subscribe and get your first month free or get your first month half off. Free shipping is also a really awesome thing to do. And I also love mentioning in my Black Friday ads, if there's going to be any kind of like, order by X date to get it in time for the holidays. I know that's tricky and that's iffy. So we always give ourselves plenty of buffer room because of course nobody can predict what's going to happen with mail service and whatnot. But if you can, even mention that in your ads, like shop now, to arrive in time before the holidays, that's always a great route to go. And the way that I like to think about it when acquiring customers for Black Friday and the holiday season is that these are people who are going to be with you all year. If you get them in at a stellar discount, let me tell you, they become raving fans of yours. And really what we want at the end of the day, whether you're service-based or e-commerce based, is we want people who are advocating for your product, for your service, that they're telling their friends and their family about how ecstatic they are. And we really see, especially during the Black Friday and holiday season, I love seeing all the comments that we have on our ads, because oftentimes people will tag a friend like, oh, so-and-so, did you see this deal? Or, oh, I just bought mine, I can't wait for it to arrive. And we often see even an increase in social proof on our ads during the holiday season. And I love seeing that. So, keep in mind too that, yeah, you might not make as much money on the sale. However, oftentimes these people are telling other people they know about it, or they become repeat customers. We often go really hard on repeat customers during the holiday seasons too. Like that's even an advertising option to reach people who have been to your storefront, who have come in and booked a service, who have purchased a product. You can do that. You can reach people year over year. And we see that working beautifully for our clients. So just keep in mind that, you're not just investing in advertising in that one-time purchase. Oftentimes you can get people to come back. So, all right, very last thing is I want to encourage you to make your offer concise and not confusing. Especially I think like in the subscription industry, I often see it can get wordy or lengthy, and whatever you're advertising to people, I'd encourage you to go ahead and just keep your text short, concise, and don't make the deal itself confusing. Like if you need people to click on a certain page in order to get a discount applied, or, in order to find the deal, just send people where they need to go and make it very concise in the ad copy too. That will go a long way. So that way you're not getting people who maybe aren't purchasing because they don't understand how to, apply a code or how to bundle products. Just make it as easy as possible. Okay, so let's talk about understanding your return. This is a biggie. I talk with business owners every single month who, you know, they've promoted a post, or maybe they've hired an agency in the past, and they aren't sure, money out, money in, and that's just like a terrifying place to be, right? Like, as business owners, we don't have unlimited funds available to spend on ads without knowing what our return is. And so I just want to chat through this really briefly. I could literally talk your ear off about for like a couple hours about this, but I'm going to keep it kind of short, sweet, and concise here, and show you what you should be keeping track of when you're running your ads to know if there's a return. Because at the end of the day, if you're spending money and you don't know how much money is coming out, that's a scary place to be, and businesses can't function that way. You need to know how many purchases, or if it's bookings for a service you have, you through Ads Manager can see whatever your desired outcome was and what the cost to get someone to do that was, as well as what the income to your business has, or I should say the revenue to your business has been through that. So let's go ahead and just kind of chat through a couple of key metrics I keep tabs on. Quick little caveat that Facebook Ads Manager will always underreport with iOS 14, and over the last couple of years, people can now opt out of tracking. So just note that whatever data you see in here, the return is actually greater than this. Your number of people who have purchased a product, or you know, filled out a lead form, whatever it is, your number is always going to be higher. This will be an underreporting. If someone says, "Hey, I'm not going to allow you to track me," then we can't see it. So just note that even this data you're seeing here is an underreporting. Definitely kind of tools and tactics we can use to put together a more complete picture, but that is, pick my brain another day. That's a story for another time. Okay, so first column I love taking a peek at, of course, is purchases. Next column I want you to take a look at is purchase ROAS, so return on ad spend. This means how many times back you made your money. So to keep it super simple, this means this client in particular, for these ads during Black Friday, we put in $1 and $3.40 came out. Let's talk bigger numbers. You put in 1,000, 3,400 comes out. Talk even bigger. You put in 10,000, 34,000 comes out. That's what that return on ad spend looks like. It's how many times back you made your money. All right, last column I want to put your eyes over to is purchase conversion value. So this is how much money you made. Pretty self-explanatory, how much money you made. So revenue, that's what this column is here. And like I said, there are so many other columns I look at. Of course, we're looking at clicks and cost per click, CPM. There are so many different things, but these are kind of some big ones that you should absolutely keep tabs on. Okay, awesome, great, Jenny. So how do I do this? Like, setting up this custom reporting, like I said, this is the biggest mistake I see business owners make, is they don't even know how to get these columns open, how to set them up. And I see this too, even when people outsource their ads at times, you know, maybe the company they're with doesn't even set those columns up for them. So it used to be as simple as just installing your pixel and you're good to go. It's not that simple anymore, unfortunately. Within the last couple of years, Facebook, they went ahead and they're making us do a couple extra items in order to see those columns and in order for Facebook to track everything that's important to us. So I want to let you know, I went ahead and I created a free tutorial for you. If you're interested, you can go ahead and Andy, I'm hoping maybe you can supply this link. I'm assuming this presentation will be available afterwards. So you can go ahead and click on this link here. I believe I've also got this up as a pop-up on my website. So you can check this out if you'd like. But I've got a series of videos, short, tangible videos for you to take a peek at. They're completely free. And I'll walk you through how to get not just the pixel on your site, that's step one, but then we also have to tell Facebook that we're prioritizing different events. So for example, hey, Facebook, I need you to measure purchases. And I need that to be, you know, I want you to measure purchases and I want you to measure, you know, lead form submissions, whatever it might be. But I've got video tutorials walking you through that, as well as how to set up those custom columns so you can see how many adds to cart, how many initiated checkouts you have, how many purchases were made. Oh, and of course, how to just navigate Ads Manager. In general, it is constantly changing. So have no fear, I love creating video tutorials. So that is available on the website for you. And I'm hoping Andy can supply that link to anybody who might need it too. Actually, Andy, that could be a nice thing to maybe put in the chat if anybody wants to check it out. So, okay, with that, I want to open up the rest of our time today to question and answer. I love being on the hot seat and answering any kind of questions that come up. So, Andy, do you want to unmute yourself and let me know what we need to do from here. But I'd love to chat with anybody who is interested right now.
Absolutely. I think first order of business, I wasn't able to click on the link because it's just a screen share of yours.
Yes.
So now that we have some time, I don't know if you're able to copy and paste that just into the chat window. So everybody has that. Speaking of copying and pasting links, I wanted to go ahead and put a link in there to our YouTube page. So this event is being recorded. This is where the event is going to be housed at, in addition to all of, I should say, many of our events that we have produced since the end of March of 2020 are housed on that YouTube page right there. So that's going to be your most concise list to check out. Tons of great events. Jenny's got a few other ones on there too, if you enjoyed what you saw today. With that though, Jenny, I see that you put the link in there too for the presentation. First question has come in. So I always have trouble figuring out how much to spend. I'm usually running 10 to 14 day campaigns to a localized audience. So I think maybe the question is that how do you figure out an accurate amount to spend based on that criteria?
Yeah, absolutely. And Melissa, please feel free to unmute yourself if you want to talk a little bit more about this. But again, her question is, she runs ads for a week and a half to 2 weeks, how much to spend. Melissa, do you mind sharing a little bit about how big this audience is? Are you in a huge city, small area?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, so I am in a very small area, and so we are usually promoting to Duluth, Minnesota, and which is like a city of about 90,000 people, and then also, you know, secondarily to the Minneapolis Twin Cities market. But then sometimes we're also looking to just target our local customers, which is just a very, very small number because we're in just a remote rural area.
Yes. Okay, great question. So I have kind of a general broad answer for you, and then I'd also like to give you some specific advice. So for anybody who's running ads, rule of thumb these days, I'm not spending any less than $10 to $15 a day for my clients. Now, I have to say it depends, because let me tell you why it depends. If you are just running ads for post engagement, so if you're looking for video views, likes, comments, shares, that is cheap. That's super affordable. And yeah, you could get by on $8 a day or $10 a day. Like I said, my client who had the local event in kind of the greater Madison area, what we did is, we spent just $10 a day, and we had thousands, and Madison isn't even a huge city. We had thousands of people liking, commenting, sharing, tagging friends, and that is so affordable. We got those engagements at a few pennies each. So that kind of, so it depends how big of a reach you need to do, because if you want to blow it out of the water, you could do $20 a day on that. But generally, if you're looking for just engagement, that's very affordable. Gosh, you could even, I guess, do like 5 to 10. I wouldn't do that as like a long-term strategy, but engagement is very affordable. Now, Melissa, if instead you were looking to maybe sell tickets to people in that area, or drive something that maybe is a bit more actionable, that is going to cost you a little bit more. For that kind of campaign, I would say you're going to want at least 15 a day. I have clients that were spending hundreds a day to get conversions. It just depends on the results you want, but be prepared that for every single audience you're testing, I would allocate around that $15-ish a day mark. Now, Melissa, with the size of Duluth, love Duluth, it's absolutely beautiful. With the size of Duluth and kind of the greater area, the thing that I would encourage you to keep tabs on is look at the frequency. So when you're inside of Ads Manager, what you can do, and actually I can pull up my screen here in just a moment. What you can do is you can look at the frequency, so the rate at which you're reaching people. So if you are reaching people and starting to reach them like 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, your ad spend is too high. Because you don't want to bug people, right? Like, and Facebook, or just marketing in general, will tell us that people need several different touch points before they convert. That's fine, but if they're seeing all 7 touch points or whatever it might be from your one ad, that's going to be annoying, and that is too high, and that would be an indicator that you'd want to turn down that ad spend. So I would just be cognizant. If you during a couple of weeks span, it shouldn't be a problem, but if you ever had like an ongoing campaign, keeping tabs to make sure you're not reaching a small audience too many times is a good idea. Let me see here, and I'm going to just stop screen share for just a moment so that I can open up my screen. I thought I would show you here where you can find that. Give me just a moment. I'll make sure I'm sharing my right screen here. Okay, bring you guys over here. And while I'm doing that, feel free, if you've got any other questions that are coming up, please feel free to drop them in the chat here. Melissa, any follow-up questions based on my answer here for you?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. So if I'm using like maybe 3 different audiences, so I have like our local small audience plus a Duluth audience plus a lookalike audience. I would probably want to budget $15 per day for each audience at least for like a sales campaign.
Yeah, and you're looking to sell a product or did you say tickets?
Yeah, tickets. Selling tickets.
Tickets. Yep. And I would say, I would go minimum, if you're looking for ticket sales, I would go minimum 15. And actually, Melissa, I'd almost encourage you, like, let's say you're given a budget of like, hey, you can spend up to $40 a day total or something. I'd almost encourage you to try fewer audiences, but turn up that ad spend. Because think of it this way, if it's going to cost you $8, I'm making this up, but let's say it costs you $8 to get someone to make a purchase. I'd rather you be able to get more data coming in a shorter period of time because you're putting more ad spend behind it. If you're spreading, like a mistake I see people make is they're trying to test out too many things at once, too many audiences at once. And when you do that, you're not making as big of an impact because you're not spending as much. So I'd almost say, like, if you've got a lump sum of money, maybe even consider doing it with just 2 audiences.
Okay. And then can I set them up in one campaign and set them up as separate ad sets?
You've got it. Yep, that's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do one campaign and then you can set up many. Gosh, some of my clients that are large and we're doing really big ad spend, we might have several audiences going at a time. So that's no problem. That's exactly what you would do. Is I would probably keep everything the same for those audiences, and I would just target different people at the ad set level.
Okay.
And Melissa, I just wanted to show you and anybody else who's interested, you know how I said, especially if you're in kind of a more local market, making sure that your frequency isn't jumping too high. This is like a dummy account that I use when I used to promote like Facebook Marketplace stuff. So don't worry, there's no personal information here. But what I look at is here in the performance and clicks column, you can see the frequency. So I reached everybody on average 1.3 times, which is fine. If you end up seeing in your area that you're reaching people 4, 5, 6 times, that's something to keep tabs on, and your audience isn't large enough to support the amount of money that you're spending. So that's just something to take a look at.
All right, ready for the next question?
I am ready.
All right, so this one's from Marzina. I am starting a small e-commerce business on Etsy. The product does sell. How long should I run ads for?
Yeah, great question. So one thing to kind of differentiate is with Etsy, you don't technically own you have your storefront, right, on Etsy, but you don't actually own that website. What I'd encourage you to do, Marzina, is actually send traffic to your own website if you have one, or I'd encourage you to create your own website so you can run ad traffic to it. It goes for Etsy, or it goes for, if your product's on Amazon, wherever it might be. If you don't own that platform where it's hosted, I wouldn't ever recommend running ad traffic to it. Why? Because we can't track your return. After they leave a platform that you no longer own, you can't track what your return is. So, you could send, link click, you could send click traffic all day long. But what's really interesting is Facebook is, it's an interesting beast, and they know who our high intent shoppers are. They know who the online shoppers are, who see their Instagram story ads and they end up clicking and purchasing, and they will send it to people who are likely to purchase. And if someone leaves, if they go from your ad over to your Etsy shop, Facebook doesn't know what happens over on Etsy. We can't track that anymore. So we want to keep them on your own website, whether it's your Instagram shop or if you have your own website for your product. That would be my recommendation, because as is, you can, like I said, you can send traffic all day long, but the people who are likely to click may not be the people who are likely to purchase. And we see this. I set up these tests for clients from time to time. If they need a little bit of proof, I'll show them, like, yeah, we'll run your same ad as a traffic campaign, and we'll run it as a purchase campaign. And you need to find the people who are likely to purchase, and you can't track that. So, okay, good, Rosina, perfect. Yeah. So I would send people. You can do it right through Instagram shop. They make it actually super easy now. You can do it right on Instagram itself or on your website. And I'm sure Etsy too, they've got, promoted listings and whatnot. You can do advertising directly on platform for all of the different places you might be selling. But obviously my expertise is with Facebook and Instagram.
Jenny, I was hoping you might be able to share some insight in ways to cut through some of the political ads. I know in Wisconsin, there's several different races going on right now, and I feel those are the only ads that I see right now. Any tips or tricks on how to maybe stand out when there's some contended political races going on?
Yeah, completely. Great question. So yes, whenever there are political races, whenever there's anything big that's happening, we do generally see an effect on ad spend. I have to say my clients' ads are still doing beautifully. We haven't really seen any big hiccups. Client accounts are only ramping up at this time. So Andy, I have a question for you. Are you an online shopper kind of guy?
I've been known to buy a thing or two online.
Okay. I was going to say, because it also is catered to, we have no control over, like, I all the political races that are happening. I don't know who they're targeting, but if I had to guess, it's probably broad targeting, meaning they're going for all men and women between these ages in the state of Wisconsin or wherever. And so you will be competing, but what I have to say is I've never seen an issue where we can't break through. What I would say, things to keep in mind though, like, so your question though is like, okay, so this is happening. So what else can we be doing? I would say your biggest impact is really going to be made in your creative. So that will be your image versus a video versus if you create a graphic. And I would say the biggest thing that I encourage you to do is to try to create the most engaging kind of creative possible. And how do you know if it's engaging? How do you know if people are going to like it? Well, I just opened up here my performance and click column. This isn't a great example because none of these were ads I created, but I just want to show you an example here. Do you guys see this difference? Let me zoom in. Do you see this difference in link click-through rate? Right here. See how one of my ads had a 0.6, another one has a 5.2. What you want to do is you want to try bumping up this click-through rate as much as possible. This shows us basically people see an ad and at what rate are they heading to your website. So what you could do to figure out, okay, how do I maximize, I'm paying for this ad spend, how do I maximize that as much as possible? We're going to want to drive as much traffic at the best rate possible to your site. And so what you could do is, like, let's say, again, okay, let's go back to the vintage sweater example. Let's say you had a picture of a vintage sweater that you're selling. And then let's say you also have maybe that same sweater, but in a few different colors. So I would try testing out, again, that image, but then I would do the exact same ad, but I would do a carousel and I'd see which one has that best link click-through rate, because you're gonna, like you said, this is a time of year that you want to break through that noise as much as possible. And this is kind of your first touch point indicator if your ads are going to work, is this link click-through rate. There's so many other metrics, but if I just had to like really simplify it down, test out your image and graphics to get this as high as possible. Above a 1% is what you're shooting for. Anything beneath that says that there's probably something in your ad that you're going to want to tweak. Likely starting with the creative is the number one place we'll start.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Next question came in again from Melissa. Are there guidelines for having text in your pictures? I've heard it is best to avoid that.
Yep, great question, Melissa. There used to be. Quick answers, there used to be. They've since lifted those guidelines, so it's not an issue like it used to be. It used to be, oh gosh, I'm even forgetting because it's been so long, 25% or so or less text is what they ask for, but now it's not an issue. Here's what I would say though, when you're creating graphics, keep it as simple as possible. If you are going, okay, so I'll give a service-based and then I'll give a product-based example. If you're product-based, I would probably give the name of the product. I might even consider skipping your logo altogether because your logo is going to be auto-placed on any ad you create. I would probably do the name of your product. And if you're doing like a discount like BOGO 20, save 20% off with BOGO 20, and I would keep it simple like that. I wouldn't go giving too much information. Now, let's say you are someone who has an event, or if you're a service-based business owner, I would do the exact same thing. I would give as little text as possible while telling as much of a story as possible. So if you are, I'm saying, let's say, I think someone in here had said that they own a local spa. So I would say, just keep your marketing kind of like you would do like any like pamphlet that you might create. Your marketing material should be short and concise. So I would let them know the name of the service. I would let them know what the deal is, and then maybe an address, and I'd leave it at that. I wouldn't go crazy overboard. Really let the visual lead and the text be something secondary and small that doesn't detract from, you know, the picture telling the story.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Make sure to get any other questions in if you haven't got them yet. There aren't any other ones right now. Jenny, as you know, we are a community that is built up of fellow fearless dreamers. We always like to ask our presenters, what's one piece of advice you have for someone who's actively pursuing a dream right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Andy, you ask me this every time I come back, and every time I forget that you've asked me this. I'm like, oh, maybe I should prep something, but it'll be off the cuff. I would say the biggest thing that I've learned over the years, I obviously work for myself. I own Ads Uncorked. My first profession, I was a math teacher. If you couldn't tell, I nerd out about numbers and math and analytics. Like, that is just what I live, eat, and breathe. So marketing was a good transition for me. But I would say my piece of encouragement is that if you have a dream on your heart to open up a business or to invest in something, to, of course, be smart about it, but go all in. I am not a risk taker. I never in a million years would have thought I'd owned a marketing agency. I have a whole team underneath me, and I never thought I would have been in a place where I could have the courage to do it. But I thankfully had a supportive husband who kind of pushed me into entrepreneurship and to make calculated risks is what I'd say. You know, there's no guarantee in any of this, but don't be afraid, as long as you've got the support around you, to go ahead and go for your dreams. Because I never thought I thought I was going to be a teacher forever, and my husband kind of encouraged me to pursue this desire to be an entrepreneur that was on my heart for a while. So
wonderful. That's so great to hear. Next one from Karen. Should you push to Instagram as well as Facebook, or do them as separate campaigns?
Yeah, great question, Karen. Do them together. Quick answer, do them together. You can, so Facebook obviously owns Instagram. You can send ads directly to Facebook. You could send them directly to Instagram. I generally see the cost per purchase, lead form, sign up, whatever you're measuring, that cost typically increases when we tell Facebook, hey, just send to Instagram or just send to Facebook. And it's, you know, like I've said before, I'll say it again, Facebook is a very smart beast, and they know where those conversions are going to come from. So oftentimes I'll see, you know, we even have extra placements now, like Instagram Reels or Facebook Marketplace, whatever it might be. And oftentimes when we just like set the auto settings for the delivery, it will send very few impressions to where it's not working. It will funnel all your money towards what is working. So there was a time where I used to separate it out, but these days I'm seeing like, let Facebook do its job, and it will find people on the platform where you're going to get your best conversions.
All right, next one from Melissa. When you advertise, does it automatically distribute to your followers, or do you have to target them specifically?
Okay, so yeah, does it distribute to your followers, or do you have to target them specifically? You have to target them specifically. Yep. So when you're at so campaign level is where you create the campaign itself. So you tell Facebook, you know, if we're going to go for engagement or if we're going to go for purchases. And then here at this ad set level, and I walk through this in those video tutorials, the link I dropped in here. So we'll dive more into it. But when you get the ad set level, Melissa, that's where you can go ahead and obviously target, you know, you could do cold audiences, people who don't know anything about you, but then there'll be an audience option basically to target people who are familiar with your business, your brand. So this could be you uploading an email list. This could be, you know, pulling anybody who's been to your website in the last X period of time. So yes, you'd have to set that up separately. All right, at the beginning, you said not to boost. Why not? Oh man, getting me going here. I could talk about this for 30 minutes and I won't, but I will say this. When you boost, you have such limited options and you can't test really anything. Or maybe you can test like a couple things, but you're not going to be able to understand your return on ad spend like you could if you actually created it from scratch. When you jump in Ads Manager and click create and you go through the ad creation process, you can, you know, like I was talking about earlier today with, I'm forgetting, I'm going to blank on the name. Is it, oh, Melissa, no, I think it was you and I who were talking about this earlier, but anyway, you can test out so many different factors and pieces if you're doing it manually yourself. When you click boost, oftentimes it's not going to be a clear-cut answer as to what your return on ad spend is. And at the end of the day, as business owners, we need to know money going out and money coming in. And if you click boost, oftentimes it'll say, okay, you reached 10,000 people and you had, you know, 100 clicks. And it's like, okay, great. But like, what does that equate to? That doesn't mean anything to us, when instead what I love doing is being able to say like, okay, I spent $2,000 for my client this month and we ended up earning $8,000, and it was this ad in particular that drove those conversions, and we can kind of refine it and figure out where you're getting your best return on ad spend. So boosting, I just feel like it's a disservice to business owners, and they make it so easy for us to be able to just click boost and promote it. So alluring, but you're not going to get your best return possible.
All right, Jenny, that looks like all the questions that have come in at this time. Thank you all so much for engaging and asking those wonderful questions. Jenny, thank you so much for putting together such a wonderful presentation. Hope you all have so much success this holiday season in running your ads. With that being said, we will go ahead and cap it there, and we will see you all next time. Take care.
Hi, thank you.